All right, everyone. Tom here from Physio Inc. I'm here at the Southern Clinic, and I'm just going to run you through a bit of mobility. So, getting some good habits going in your life is really, really good, obviously. And one thing that you can add into it is some mobility. Now, most people are thinking stretching. Stretching, it's kind of good, but it's not great. So, I'm going to go show you something called dynamic mobility or dynamic stretching instead. And we're going to go through, we're going to start at our feet, work our way up, and I'm going to give you the things that we mostly see people getting injuries because they're bad at this kind of stuff. Okay, so it'll help injury prevention, but also help you move and feel better, and it'll be for a good reason. So I'm going to start down the bottom. Now, all of these, we're going to aim at doing 10 repetitions of each on each side. But if you're particularly stiff in this area and you want to do a bit of a hold, do a bit of a static stretch, you can go for it. Hold it for just 10 or 20 seconds, and you can add that on as well. Or if you've got one area that you're really tight in and you want to do a couple more, instead of 10, do 15, do 20, go nuts, okay? You don't need to do that many of all these exercises. I'd recommend just doing 10 and doing a few extra of the ones that you struggle with. All right, so we're going to start off actually just working on calf and ankle strength. Or length. So we're just going to kind of lunge forwards and then back again. And as you come up, you're just going to straighten that knee. So you're actually just taking the ankle through range. You're stretching the back calf a little bit. You're stretching the front one a little bit as well. So you're just lunging into it. It shouldn't be hard. We're not going all the way down. It's just about getting some ankle range going. Okay. So 10 repetitions on that side, and then you're going to swap around, and then you're going to do 10 repetitions on the other side as well. Simple. All right, and then next we're going to go into some leg swings. I'm not going to do all 10 reps of everything. With the leg swings, you're just going to have something to hold on to, and you're just going to aim at just going straight up and straight back. Try not to come across your body too much. Once you've done a couple of warm-up ones, you can put some effort into it. So really start to fling it up and see kind of how high you can go. So this is instead of a hamstring stretch, where you usually just be sitting there stretching it. It's not that effective. It's not that functional. This is a much better way of getting good functional length into your hamstring. And if you want to go next level, you can also start to kick your bum at the back, and that's going to actually stretch your quads at the same time. So really good running warm-up, but also good for general mobility. All right, going to do that 10 times at least on each side. And then you're going to come across your body. So this is working your adductors, so one's down here, and also stretch out your glutes a little bit as well. So something that you're probably all relatively familiar with. So you're just touching a wall, show it to you at that angle, but you can come across out here as well. And that's just make sure you're swinging up high. Same deal, do a couple of reps to warm up. But as you feel like you're warming up, you can start to put some more effort into it and get a bit more range going. All right, so that's the hips and the legs done. And then after that, we're going to get into the nerves in the back. So you're going to start off just by getting your nerves going a little bit. You might feel this in your hamstrings. That's totally fine. You might feel it in your back. I don't really care where you feel it. But you just want to get to a point where your knees bent a little bit. They get a bit of tension. You might have your hands on the floor at this point. You might have your hands up here or your shin. Just depends on where you are. And then you just want to straighten and bend. So alternating, bending one, straightening the other. So straighten one, bend the other at the level where you're getting a bit of stiffness, okay? And you're just going to swap sides. And that just gets your nerves warmed up and also gets some good hamstring and back length going. After you've done that, 10 reps, then you're going to come back, you're going to lean back as far as you can. If you get some back pain going backwards, just don't go all the way, okay? A little bit of discomfort, 1 or 2 out of 10 pain, totally fine. But you're just going to go back as far as you feel comfortable, and then you're going to go forwards. And the idea is that each repetition, you're going to think about trying to go back a little bit further and going forwards a little bit further. If you're really flexible, you'll be putting your hands all the way on the ground. If you're not as flexible, you'll be putting your hands just as far as they go on your shins. All right. That's your lower back and your hips. So now we're going to get onto your thoracic, so your middle back. So this is a good functional exercise. So both hands out in front, a bit of a split stance, up against the wall. And then you're just going to rotate out and try to get the back of that hand to touch that wall. And then you come back again. So you're going to do 10 repetitions of that. If you're finding that too easy, you can make it more challenging by getting your hips to point more in the opposite direction. Because then respectively to your upper back, you actually have to move further. So now I can't reach that wall anymore. Or if you're particularly stiff, you can straighten your hips up a little bit more, or even give yourself a bit of an advantage and point that way. And that's going to make it much, much easier to get around. And you're going to do that on both sides as well. So that's your upper back. And then you're going to come in and do head rotation, so working your neck. Make sure you're standing up nice and tall when you're doing this. You don't want to be slouching and trying to do head turns because you won't get far, and it's just not a good way to stand. So stand up nice and tall, feet hip width apart. You're going to turn as far as you can with the neck on its own steam. But then when you get to the end and you can't go any further, just take 2 fingers on your chin and give yourself a bit of a nudge just to get all the way around. And then you go the other way. So 10 repetitions of this as well, one side to the other. And then we're going to go forwards and back. So you're going to come down and come up. So like I said, you can, if there's any ones that you feel particularly tight in, add a bit of a hold onto it. So I'll show you an example with the neck one. So as you come down, I feel like I'm a little bit stiff at the moment on my right-hand side. So I'm going to just pull my head down a little bit to the left, just to feel a bit of a stretch down there. And I can just hold that for 10 to 20 seconds, just to add into my daily routine, because that's one of my niggles or goats that I could work on. All right, so then we've gone through our whole body and all the planes that it can move, mostly. And then what we're going to do is one more thing for your upper thoracic. So you're going to have your back against the wall. And I'm going to give you an option. Number one is just going to be head against the wall, back against the wall, and just coming up with your hands, keep your elbows totally straight until you get to the wall and back down again. Or you can do some angels, which is just coming up to here and back down again. Probably try both, see which one's hardest, and whatever one's hardest, do that. And then finally, we're just going to do what we call just an end range squat. So you're just going to go as far as you can go. Some people, when they're doing their squat, they'll only be able to get this far, and that's fine. You might even find that you can only get so far without falling over, in which case you might need to hold on to something. So I'll just get something that I did not prepare earlier. And you're just going to come down, and you might need to hold on to something. So this could be a bed leg, or the leg of a chair or something like that, just to stop yourself from toppling backwards, because you might not have very good ankle range. But hopefully what happens is that as time goes on, you get a bit more flexible, you can get a little bit lower, and then you're just going to kind of working down. And ideally you'll get to a point where you can come all the way down and have your heels on the ground. If you're still struggling with this, you can put something underneath your heels to lift them up a little bit. A rolled up towel or a book even is enough, just to get you all the way down here. And this is just good to get you in full flexion of your hips and your knees and your ankles as well. Now, while you're in this position, because we're not doing repetitions of this one, it's just a hold. But what I do want you to do is move around a little bit. So if you feel like your ankles are stiff, really just kind of leaning to one side, trying to get that ankle to mobilize a bit. Going the other ankle as well. Maybe you're feeling a bit tight through your adductors. You can actually put your hands in between and push outwards to get a bit of a stretch through there. Or some people, they like to actually drop their feet down and get some internal rotation going. Once again, you shouldn't really get any pain with this, just a bit of stretching sensation. And you're going to do this for up to 5 minutes. But it's up to you how long you hold it for. I'm going to say a minimum of about a minute. And then you're done. So get that into your program, up to 10 reps of each one, go through all of them. And if you want to or need to, spend a little bit more time on the ones that you're not very good at. Good luck with it, and let me know how you go.